is Rachel, and today I'm here with my October book haul. In October, I went to a library conference, and I bought quite a few books while I was there, and I also went shopping for books while I was there, so I have quite a few to show you from October. So first off, I'm going to show you the ones that I got at the library conference. First up is a children's book that I picked up after we had a keynote speaker that was absolutely amazing. His name was Charles R. Smith Jr., and he was absolutely fantastic. This book is called 28 Days, Moments in Black History That Changed the World, and I was so fascinated by his keynote address, and he did read some of the entries in this book, and I was just totally fascinated. This obviously is about Black History Month, and there is a bonus 29th day, and I loved his discussion on if they should call it 28 days or 29 days for the title. But I like that it highlights more than what you typically hear about in Black History Month, and he actually talked directly about this topic, how growing up as a Black man, he only heard very specific names throughout all the Februaries that he had lived through, and while those are important people, that there are more that should be heard. And I just like that this is broken down. It's all in kind of a poetic format with some information as well, and I just really like it. I mean, it includes the ones you hear about a lot, like Rosa Parks, but it also includes ones that I've never heard of before. And I really like the format. So I got my own copy, long story short, and I'm looking forward to getting a copy of this in all of my elementary libraries that I work with. Next, I picked up another keynote speaker book, and that is Robert Beatty. This is Seraphina and the Black Cloak. He just released the third book in the series, and I'd kind of wanted to read it, but it wasn't really high on my priority list until I heard him speak. It really motivated me to want to read this book. I got to go to his keynote address as well as his session on how he made the book trailers. And if you have not seen the book trailers for these, you should check them out because they are fantastic. But anyway, I'm super excited now to read this. I got this one signed, and I'm pumped to have it on my shelves. Next, I picked up a copy of Not a Drop to Drink by Mindy McGinnis. She is kind of a local author. She's from Ohio, and she started out as a librarian. So I really enjoy collecting her books whenever I see her at the conference. And the reason I picked this one up in particular this time was because the environmental studies class at my school is planning to read this coming semester, and I just ordered a bunch of copies, and I'm super excited to be reading it with them. So now I have my own signed copy. Another one I was pumped to get is We All Fall Down by Natalie Richards. We actually read One Was Lost for book club in October, so it was really exciting to get her new book signed that month. And then having talked to her at the conference, she agreed to graciously Skype with our book club, and that was so much fun. So she did talk a little bit about this when she Skyped with us, and I think it's going to be just as interesting as the other one, so I am excited to have this on my shelf. I picked up two more books at the conference. I don't know much about them, but the way they had the autograph table set up, you kind of walked past all of the authors, so you kind of got to talk to them, and just from talking with them and hearing what their book was about, I decided to pick it up, even though I don't know too much about it, but I liked what the author had to say enough to buy the book and get it signed. So I picked up Pretty Girl 13. I always want to say girls. Pretty Girl 13 by Liz Coley. Again, I don't know anything about it, but I was intrigued by what the author had to say. Same thing with Things That Surprise You by Jennifer Mascari, I think is how you say this name. I love this cover, and again, I was just kind of intrigued by what she had to say while I was passing her table, so I got a copy of this as well. Then, during some downtime while I was at the conference, I found a Barnes & Noble, and I bought some books, so let's jump into those. So first, since it was October, I couldn't help but get my own copy of Ghostland, An American History and Haunted Places by Colin Dickey. I've been hearing great things about this book, and I just have not got my hands on it, and then I saw it there, and it just seemed perfect. The hope was to read this in October, but that didn't happen. So now I'm not sure if I want to save it for next October or if I just want to go ahead and read it. I'm not sure yet, but I have my own copy, so I can do either now. I also picked up The Daily Show, the book, An Oral History. I actually got this from the library when it first came out, and I just didn't have enough time to read it before it was due back, so I ended up having to take it back without reading it. So when I saw this in a giant floppy paperback copy, I decided to go ahead and grab it. it. I'm really intrigued by this. Of course, I love The Daily Show, especially when Jon Stewart was on. I feel like his cast was the best, with Rob Corddry and John Oliver and Stephen Colbert. I just love them. It's kind of like SNL. Like, everybody has their own favorite SNL cast, and this was definitely my favorite cast. I love them. But anyway, it tells the story of The Daily Show through, like, interviews. So it's not just like a flat out text. It's interviews with all of the people who contributed to the show, and I'm very intrigued by that. Looking forward to reading this one. I also picked up another one that I am super, super excited for, and that is the Best American Non-Required Reading 2017. The reason I'm excited for this is because everybody has seen all of the best of that comes out this time of the year. You've got like the best American poetry, the best American short stories, the best American mystery stories, all of these, but I'd never heard of this one. And let me just read the back of it for you to give you an idea. It says, for the past year, in the basement of an independent publishing house in San Francisco, a committee of high school students read through scores of journals, magazines, and books. Together with a brilliant guest editor who had lots of interesting stories about Montana, they debated the merits of this work and ultimately selected the contents of this anthology. So a group of high school kids got together and read through all the things that have been published in articles and magazines and books and pulled this together. I just thought that was fantastic. I love that the high school students were the ones who really kind of picked the selection that we get in this, and I'm super excited to read it. I would love to be able to do something like this with my high school students. So I've never heard of this one, and I'm pretty excited for it. There are some pretty common names that you would know. Ta-Nehisi Coates is included. Louise, I never can say her name right. Erdrich, I apologize. Lin-Manuel Miranda is included. George Saunders. I'm awful at saying people's names. I apologize here and now for every name I butcher in any of these videos, but you get what I'm saying. So there's really good content in here, and it was all selected by students, and I think that's just amazing. So I'm excited to jump into this one and maybe try something on a much smaller scale at my high school. I also picked up Lady Killers by Tori Telfler. I am very much interested in any type of murder mystery serial killer story. It's just fascinating because I don't know. It's just really fascinating, I guess, what people can do and how they can talk themselves into doing certain things. But I like this one because it is all women and you don't hear too many stories about female serial killers, so I think this will be kind of unique and an interesting take on murder mystery things. And then lastly on this haul, I bought A Wrinkle in Time. I got a new copy. I actually have a copy over there somewhere, but it is like old, straight out of the 80s. And I hate the cover. I wanted a new copy, and since the movie's coming out and it's going to be kind of big again, I decided to go ahead and get my own copy. And then lastly, for this month's haul, I stopped by a library sale on the way back from the conference. Very conveniently timed, by the way. But they were selling hardback books for $5 a piece, so I couldn't pass it up. So first, I picked up The Reader, Book 1 of Sea and Ink and Gold by Tracy Chee. I am not 100% sure what this book is about, but I've heard such amazing things about it that I had to pick it up. Next, I picked up American Street by Evie Zoboy. Again, I apologize if I butchered the pronunciation, but I read like the first couple of chapters of this that were released on Epic Reads, I think, and I loved it. I'm super excited to finish this one up and read this book. I love this cover. I have been super excited for this one since they announced it, and I'm pumped. This is about a Haitian girl that comes to the U.S. with her mom, but her mom is detained at the airport, and she is accepted, so she has to go stay with this other family, and that's as far as I got with the little chunk that was released. So I'm excited to jump in and see what this is all about. This is another one that I've heard amazing things about. I'm not 100% sure what it is about, but I've heard this buzzed a lot here, and that is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. I still haven't read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, but I'm hoping to read both of these in the coming months, especially since the movie version of Simon is coming out. So yeah, I picked this one up as well. I also picked up Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. There has been so much buzz about this, and I've seen so many reviews here that I decided that I would really like to jump in and see what it's all about. So I grabbed this one. And lastly at the sale, I picked up York. This is book 1, the Shadow Cipher series, and I have heard such amazing things about this book. I've heard that it's going to be a huge series in the future. This is by Laura Ruby, and I am super excited to own my own copy of this one. So those are all the books that I bought in the month of October. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon with another video. Bye for now.